Well, you've been steady, building steam like a thunderhead, armed and ready with the lies you overheard. Well, strike me down like a lightning in the dark. Deliver me the fate I must deserve. Oh, don't you? I just wait and listen for the storm. You can hear the difference in the wind. When the dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when the hurricane comes in. When the dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when the hurricane, oh, that old hurricane comes.
All right, my friends. Let me know if you can hear the audio loud and clear. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And smash the like button if you can hear and see this video on the screen. Today we're talking about the great reboot, the next 100 days in the American FPV hobby, and what may happen. This is not a test.
Just you wait to listen for the storm. Hear the difference in the wind. When dark clouds form and start to turn, I'll run again. Far away when
All right, guys, welcome to today's live stream. We have a lot to talk about today. Wow. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Smash the like button if you can hear me and see me on this video. We want to make this video rise up in the ranks of YouTube. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025. And we're here today to talk about the state of FPV, the great reboot in the next 100 days. What's happening in the US FPV hobby is that we have not a possible crash coming, but a total collapse and crash. It is going to happen. Mark my words. I've been right before on this channel. I forecasted a lot of things happening, but I mean, I don't have to forecast anything because you guys can kind of see this coming, and you can look around in the current news with the tariffs, the state Chinese drone bans, and supply chains being restricted. Amazon is way down in all types of orders for FPV drones, including DJI, the most popular FPV drone outfit in the world. Goggles 3, can't buy them right now on Amazon. A lot of orders at the border are being halted or returned back to Chinese distributors. So welcome, Lanio. Welcome, Tommy. Tommy said he had to dig in to find a hidden supply of parts that's already in the U.S. Ordered this morning. Phew. There was a lot of panic buying on all types of different levels. You know, not just the FPV hobby, but like even consumer panic buying we saw last week. And so last week I kind of waited around, and hopefully I was going to hear some news that President Xi and Trump came to the table to talk about some negotiations. We also heard on Friday that President Trump was also considering drastically rolling back the Chinese tariffs. So at this point, we are waiting for that to happen. But in the meantime, since I believe it was Friday, I don't know if many of you guys are aware of this, but iFlight RC, one of the world's largest FPV drone manufacturers in China, halted U.S. orders. So that is one of the first things that we're going to talk about in our supply chain. As far as the US hobby goes, they provided a ton of drones for us to play with and fly, and starting on April 24th, they put up this notice on their website. Now, this is right on the iFlight website. Important notice regarding new US tariffs, suspension of shipments to the US. So recently they announced before this that they were going to have have you guys charged at the border whatever 145% or whatever the current tariff was on your order, depending on what you buy, based on what you buy. And so since then they've put this news item up, and it does say they're suspending shipments to the US. About an hour ago, I was trying to get on this website to see if they put any news up. You can go to the bottom of the page, and they do have a news center link right here that you can click on that will give you all the latest iFlight news. And this popped up, was the first thing that I saw this afternoon, our time here. So iFlight notice suspension of US shipments due to new tariff regulations. And that's pretty major for our hobby, because they are absolutely one of the largest FPV hobby drone suppliers to the US hobby stateside. Also, GEP RC, we haven't heard anything from GEP RC yet, but if GEP RC if GEP RC decides to halt orders until further notice to US customers, expect like major disruptions in the FPV hobby. So yeah, if the two largest FPV drone US hobby suppliers like cut off their supply chain to us, man, we're gonna be in quite a situation. So again, let us know where you're tuning in from, and smash the like button. I have some more stuff to share with you guys. There's so much happening in so many different directions. It's kind of a lot for my brain to handle right now. So we have a lot to talk about. North Carolina, welcome to the stream, Robert Ballard, welcome. Good to see another North Kakalaki guy in here. One of the other things that I don't know if some of you guys have noticed, if you go on Amazon, we've been also tracking Amazon for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and the numbers of items that you can order and the low stock on items that were just almost unlimited. Stuff was laying around in piles. 5 years ago, we had stuff laying around in piles, and now all the stockpiles have been sent to Ukraine and places that are active war zones. And FPV drones have become a vital frontline, tip of the spear, so to speak, type of drone. So one of the big things that you won't see on Amazon right now is Lion packs. So these long-range Lion packs with the XT60s on there that you guys could get from GEP RC and iFlight for the past several years, 5 years or so. You can't find a 6S 5000 Lion on Amazon right now, or any large size Lions. People were asking me last Friday, where can they get some domestically? There is a company called Upgrade Energy. You can Google them. If you're looking for 7-inch batteries, Google Upgrade Energy. The price for one of those, I have a few of them sitting over there. They sent me for review a couple years ago. Right now, they're still in stock, and they're about $200 a battery. And that battery will get your 7-inch about 25 to 30 minutes flight time, depending on your motor size and KV. I still have to test out the Mod 7 V2 on those batteries. Appreciate the likes on the video. Thank you guys for that. So not only do we have supply chain disruption, we also have a lot of stateside Chinese drone bans that are kind of coming down the pipe for local pilots. depending on your area. I know Texas right now is considering a bill, and we're looking at about 5 or 6 states that are kind of leading the charge on the Chinese drone ban. And right now, this is sort of impacting first responders and law enforcement. So that's unfortunate for them, because about 90% of their fleets are Chinese-made drones, and they don't have how we say affordable options to immediately replace those options that they're flying. And we've been talking about that for over a year. Local police departments here use DJI Avata 2s for CQB, also for going in and talking to people when they're having a mental health crisis, won't come out of their house, or just trying to get, hey man, come outside. $1,000 for an Avata 2. If someone smashes it, it's not like the price of a Brink where they have to go spend another 25 grand if that person having a mental health crisis smashes it. So iFlight, bills, and also Florida. So there's some new news in Florida as well. Property owners pestered by spying drones could soon be allowed to fight back with force. So if that Florida bill did pass, and I want you to hear a news excerpt from Florida attorney, and he's talking about the bill giving homeowners the right to take down drones over their property, because there is kind of a conflict of interest there. There is a federal law or regulation by the FAA that deems your drone as an aircraft. So it gets really sticky if someone walks outside and discharges a firearm within city limits. Also, there's also firearm rules, and you could hit a passerby as well in the air, maybe an airplane flying over. So not a good idea to shoot your rifle or any gun in the air within city limits, especially in the fly zones. So let's check this out. Florida attorney weighing in on this new bill.
No one wants to have a drone sitting over their property filming what they do, you know, for any number of reasons. And almost every state has laws on privacy, including for drones. I can't say that I've seen one where it allows self-help. Florida's now the bill, to me, the part that stands out is the fact that now you can use self-help, and it says reasonable force, which isn't defined in the bill. But Floridians have to be very careful, because there's still a federal law that says you cannot. Drones are considered aircraft, manned or unmanned. You cannot mess with aircraft, and there's good reason for that, because when you mess with aircraft, they fall, even if they're unmanned. And that creates all kinds of dangers to people on the ground, to persons, to property, and everything else. So just because the state legislature provides for being able to use reasonable force, and we'll get into that in a minute, does not mean that that you won't be violating federal law if you do that. I believe you will. What's interesting to me is that it's passing the various committees in the Florida Senate 8-0, 9-0. And I think part of it has to do with number one, these legislators know that you can't mess with these aircraft, but they want the other provisions in the bill. Sometimes you have to vote for a bill even though it contains a provision that you're not in favor of. And it does set forth more privacy grounds, and it does, start prohibiting the government from using these drones to surveil you just for any or no reason. It starts to prohibit it. It sets forth exceptions like it should, but I think what's drawing the legislators to it are all the other provisions in the bill. I would be very happy with the bill if it did not include the reasonable force part. You have to be careful as a Floridian if you're going to use force with one of these things. Um, Number one, it talks about reasonable, reasonable, reasonable. Uh, the obvious concern is not that somebody uses a laser to take one down, which creates concerns because they fall, or that you use some sort of electromagnetic thing to interfere with its signal and all that. The concern, once again, they fall. Those aren't, maybe somebody with a BB gun or a slingshot. Those aren't, the discharge or the use of the device is not as dangerous as to the consequences, which is with it falling. Florida has strict gun laws as far as discharging a weapon in a residential area, over residential neighborhoods, over right of ways. 790.15 provides, you know, penalties for discharging a firearm in public or on residential property. Um, that, to me, that is the biggest concern here. Does someone interpret that to mean that you can discharge your firearm to take one of these down? The concern that I have in 790.15, which is the statute that talks about discharging a firearm, is that it does provide exceptions for defending life or property. Are you defending property when you are taking down a drone? I think you're defending your right to privacy. I don't necessarily think that you're defending property. It would be an argument to somebody charged with that crime that they're defending their.
So, I mean, really, I've seen this happen before, and it's never a good idea to shoot at a drone, as you guys know. So, if you did shoot at a drone, you would be in all kinds of legal hot water. Even if you were outside city limits, it was totally acceptable to discharge a firearm in the area where you are standing. He didn't speak about that, but if anyone was to shoot down a drone, you will be in court. 100%, you'll be in court. There's all kinds of federal regulations that uh, prohibit this. So that is what's happening in Florida. And also, Missouri is another state that we're looking at as far as Chinese drone bans. And first responders in Missouri are trying to figure out what can they do for a Chinese alternative. American alternatives 10 times more expensive. And, I know a lot of these guys, they don't have the funding locally to be able to go out and buy things like teal and brink. It's just not sustainable currently. And so, we have been pretty locked down to DJI and the matrice for local state responders. And that's Missouri. Now, over in Texas, there is a brand new bill that is almost passed. And HB 41 right now in Texas, it is a bill that is up to also ban Chinese drones. And there's all kinds of wording in here. I will go ahead and copy this and paste it in the chat for you guys so you can check this out yourself. So guys in Texas, you guys are up next. All right, I'm just gonna copy and paste this into the chat. Hopefully it won't paste for some reason. Oh, I'm being prohibited from sharing this with you. Let's see, here we go. Okay. Nope. All right, I'll go somewhere else to try to do it. Okay. All right. I'm just going to go directly into the chat from my own browser. Inside OBS, it wasn't letting me paste that for you guys. What the hell? All right, here we go. All right, that worked. But happening in Texas, HB 41 looks to ban certain Chinese drones. So certain. We don't know what that list is. There's not currently a list available. But again, like the worry is there is possibility for any electronic components being used for espionage. And currently we have 5 states right now. And let me show you those 5 states. The 5 states that are considering the Chinese drone ban are Connecticut, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. So all you have to do is just hop on Google and type in which states are currently considering Chinese drone ban, and you can get an AI answer if you're using Brave, and it'll kind of search the web for you and give you the current states considering the Chinese drone bans. And Connecticut, we saw Connecticut a while back. This bill in Connecticut is also kind of looking at first responder drones. And right now, it's passed the chambers and the state legislature. It's waiting Governor Ned Lamont's signature. So this legislation for Connecticut would ban the purchase or use of drones by Connecticut towns, state agencies, contractors starting in October 2026. So a lot of these bills are slated to go through in the fall. So they do have some months before a lot of this goes through. I believe the Texas one was slated for September. Oh, this 2026, never mind. With a ban for their operation beginning on 2028. So that would give them a little bit of time in Connecticut. But sometimes when things get started like this, they pop off sooner than later. We've also seen that in Arkansas. We have a statewide wide-ranging communist China defense package that includes restrictions on Chinese drones and other technology down in the good old state of Arkansas. If you live in Arkansas, this may impact you if you work for law enforcement or a first responder. Florida, we talked about Florida. And again, you can check out that bill in the chat. I'm going to check out some of your comments in the chat, guys. So, DJ Lee, Mr. Lee says, absolutely breaks federal law. It sounds like a disaster waiting to happen unless I'm at the trap club, not shooting anything in the air. What goes up must come down. Absolutely. So that's the danger. Well, there's a lot of dangers with shooting at a drone. First off, the discharge of a firearm and where that round decides to end up. Could hit a passerby plane. It could hit a person off in the distance. Cars driving. And then the drone falling. So there's two very large dangers to public safety when firing a firearm at a drone. Now, over in Mississippi, I haven't really tapped into this one yet. I haven't really read much about what's happening in Mississippi. It says they have also passed legislation restricting the use of Chinese drones by state and local agencies, and that's what we've been seeing. I feel like at least since like 2019, 2018 or 2019, there was a federal ban on the use of, specifically starting with DJI. Stealth Flight FPV says, wonder how this would affect FPV built with quads with DJI air systems. Would they consider that a banned drone? It really depends on the state, but if they're going to be using it for law enforcement or first responder types of things, it would be in the band, included in the ban. Absolutely. So yes, that would be banned. Boomer politicians in bending us over again. Cool. Yeah, can't say the age range for people who are making up these bills, but there is, right now there is a huge anti-China campaign happening, um, pretty much everywhere in DC. Also checking out Tennessee. And it's not just FPV drones; it's all kinds of stuff. Electronics. There's a list of items they want to go after. In Tennessee, they prohibited health insurance coverage for organ transplants. What am I reading? In China, and has banned the use of Chinese drones by the state and local agencies. So again, another state and local agency ban for Chinese drones. I'm not sure why they put that insurance coverage thing in there for organ transplants performed in China or with organs from China. I mean, if I needed a kidney or a heart transplant, I probably wouldn't care where it came from. Just saying. So today we're talking about the great reboot in FPV. Currently, supply chains are down. There are a lot of bills passing through different states, 5 currently, and more are slated. Appreciate the thumbs up. Smash that like button out there on the interwebs for us to help bring this up the chain on YouTube, because right now FPV drone videos are kind of suppressed on YouTube. So I guess for about 5 years now. So what's very alarming about all of these things that we're talking about that are kind of leading us to a great reboot, as I'm calling this. The great When I speak of the great reboot, it's the reset of the American FPV hobby. And why this is so critical at this time is because currently the number of people flying FPV in the United States is probably at the all-time low. So you guys that are watching this stream right now, we have 43 people watching the stream. Uh, in my opinion, there should be thousands and thousands of people watching this stream. There should be thousands and thousands of people interested in the FPV hobby. But since 2017, we've had a big decline in the FPV hobby interest. And so 27 was kind of the heyday where it was trendy with the public. And I talked about this back in 2020, about 5 years ago, especially during COVID. We saw supply chain shortages beginning. And since 2020, that's when we took a real nosedive in our hobby in the United States. So all of a sudden, where we used to have 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 releases of drones a week coming out of China, I mean, even more than that. Those are just the popular ones. So all of a sudden, we were having 1 to 2 releases every 2 to 6 months. So that really cut back on the a lot of drones available to you guys and to the reviewers for review. So with the reduction in supply chain and the loss of interest in the FPV hobby, why I'm saying it's such a critical moment for the American FPV drone hobby is because we're already at a critical low on participants. Racing has almost died out in the US. We should be having, in my opinion, state-sponsored FPV races to get awesome pilots into the hobby of FPV and help grow the hobby. China has sponsored their, interest in FPV drones for certain companies. I have no clue which companies got sponsored or not. But yeah, some people say DJI is sponsored, but who knows? I'm not an intelligence person, so. But with the supply chain cut, the low interest in FPV, it's a critical time in our history because literally, if a few more things happen in this direction that we're going. Uh, with everything, this whole shitty cornucopia of shit that's happening, um, we're in danger of this hobby being killed off in ways, in a way. You may say, "Oh, the hobby can never be killed off," but because there's always that guy down the street who has 14 flight controllers and a handful of motors and a wall of frames. He can pull a frame down and fly a new one anytime he wants. But not everybody's like that. Some of you guys are just getting started. It's a super hard time to be getting into FPV right now. Uh, because you can't find anything to order. And if you find something to order, when you place that order, sometimes it doesn't go through, or it's getting held up at the border. So, we talked about the future of FPV. I did a video last week or the week before. It might have been the week before about the Beta FPV Pavo 25, kind of being the future of the FPV hobby, sub 250 in general. Kind of generalizing the future of FPV for our hobby. For right now, it would be easier to get a hold of sub 250 drones. And they're also less regulated. You don't have to register them, put a number on them. You don't have to fly them out of FRIA or have a remote ID on it for now. So if all these things happen, and mark my words, there will be what I consider a great reboot. The state of FPV will have to sort of reinvent itself, right? From a stateside supply chain. So for companies like Get FPV, Race Day Quads, even some of the things that Rotor Riot makes, Pyro Drone, uh, I would be scared shitless if I was a FPV drone store right now in the U.S. And I know that some of those companies are diversified. They have a whole bunch of different things going on at once. And if you're a successful company, that's what you do. You do diversify. But for me, my first love is, with my business is diversify, but my first love is FPV and drones. So I would mentally, I would take a huge hit if we had that supply chain completely disrupted. That would be really hard. I know it would be hard on you guys. Um, so what's the answer? So yeah, somebody said in the chat, Justin can hook you up with a quad. For now, I can. And I'm not going to be able to put them up on the website fast enough to. Yeah, things are happening really fast. So, and I'm only a one-man band, so it's pretty hard. But like, I can do my best to support you domestically to be able to ship something from the U.S. to you guys to your doorstep. That is anything from, like, somebody messaged me the other day asking me if I had Cadex Vistas laying around. I don't. I still have some quads with Cadex Vista on them, and I even have some with Air Unit. The original Air Unit work with Goggles V1. So if you're one guy who has Goggles V1, you can't fly 04 and 03. I do have that type of stuff. I have analog quads, and it's funny, like some of the stuff that I would consider to be like FPV relics are all of a sudden going to become very current all over again. Like analog, you may see a resurgence of analog. I say resurgence, but older gear resurgence, like gear that it is an older quad, but it still flies. Yeah, Johnny D said he needs old air units. Yeah, see, there's still a lot of guys out there that still have the V1 goggles. And that's the cool thing, though, about V1 goggles is that, you know, you have that option to fly air units, whereas my Goggles 3 don't. They never did a firmware update to support the original air unit. I'm not talking about the 04 air unit. And right now, currently, I can't even fly my Cat X Vistas because I have Goggles 3. So Mayo Monkey says, have an influencer partner with a company for a build kit and do a whole series on building, programming, flying the kit from start to finish. Mayo Monkey, that has been done. There are some influencers out there that have drones that basically what they kind of do is they say, hey, let's design a drone. You can put my name on it. I'll get commission. And then that's, you know, my pro drone. And they'll have some input on the design. Not saying they just slap their name on it. So that has been done. I was going to do that with 2 different companies last year, and starting up the year before, we started talking about this for a Justin Davis model, ready to fly kit, a radio. And over the past year, we've had a lot of things change, and I was kind of looking to do it domestically. Dr. VB says, have y'all seen the uprising in China? People uprising. Chinese people aren't happy at all. I'm sure that there is definitely going to be some blowback in China over the export problems right now. I'm sure the ports are just, I've seen video online of just containers and containers piled up and not shipping. So I will say one thing that came to mind last week. I was sitting there thinking about FPV companies, and you know, I started using ChatGPT. I'm like, okay, ChatGPT, tell me which companies outside China produce FPV drones right now currently, and it gave me a huge list of options. But shipping times will probably be, yeah, we'll have to see how shipping times are from different countries, because China's already got this mainline shipping route set up. Temu prices have increased. Yellow Rose Drone says, I bet Temu has a meltdown. Yes, prices have increased, if not doubled, on Temu. Who cares? I don't care about Temu. I've never made one single order on Temu because I was told not to install that app on my computers or my phone. As well as TikTok. I do not use TikTok. I will not use TikTok. No fucking way. I deleted that off my phone the second that it came out that there was backdoors in that. I mean, if they want to backdoor me, they're going to backdoor me. But I don't see why. Yeah, I do not support Temu. I have been contacted by them so many times to do a drone haul video, and I have not done that. I have not become affiliate. No. So Temu is wanting to become the world's Amazon in competition directly with Amazon to disrupt Amazon. That's kind of what that's all about. As much as I have a loathing for Amazon and Bezos, but yeah. So I said last week also, support your FPV influencers or people that are creating FPV drone content, because right now, super critical that just go like all their videos, subscribe to all their channels, and if you want to support them monetarily in the next 6 months, in the next 100 days, uh, you may see some of your favorite channels drastically changing, especially if this shitstorm continues. You know, I'm hoping this week that President Trump comes out and says, okay, you know, like I said last week, we're going to roll back these China tariffs and we're going to continue to do business with China, and we're going to reestablish supply chains of everything. I mean, I saw a news article recently, and this is where it gets really bad. This is outside the FPV hobby, and who gives a shit at that point? Walmart was saying they had 10 days. Walmart has 10 days of stock left for American buyers. So all that, you know, they've been bringing. Walmart was one of the first ones to publicly say they were stocking ahead of time of the tariffs, because everyone knew this shit's coming. So they're bringing in container ships and container ships and container ships of stock before to stockpile before the tariffs hit, and they're saying they have 10 days of stock for Walmart. So really what's going to happen after 30 days, you may be seeing drastic changes in what you can buy and what's available in Walmart, Target, Best Buy, all these big box stores, even Costco. Like, I know a lot of you guys shop Costco. A lot of us go and get food at Costco. Trader Joe's, same thing. I'm always suspect that everything in Trader Joe's is from China. I swear to God, I think it's just Chinese food. And some of it in Trader Joe's actually says from China. But they won't tell you. They say imported or distributed by California. But I've always been sus of Trader Joe's. I guarantee that's Chinese stuff. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Is Trader Joe's Chinese food repackaged for a cheap price? That's why Trader Joe's is so cheap. You don't think American organic farmers are going to sell you organic green beans for, you know, $2? Lonnie O says it hasn't hit the fan yet. Oh, but it will. DJ Mr. Lee says, Red Cat to the rescue. Now, Red Cat is one of those companies that could absolutely help us keep us afloat. We need some of these companies, and we need new companies, and we need grants, and we need new factories. I mean, this is pretty much in every fucking sector in the U.S., right? So we gave up 90 factories in the past 20 years. 90 major factories closed down. So all those jobs went overseas. I mean, and that's currently what Trump's kind of trying to do. I think he just put $1 trillion back into defense and military spending, building the Golden Dome, which would be the most badass dome in the world outside Israel. Dr. VB says, what is Red Cat? Red Cat is a domestic U.S. company that makes U.S. drones. So there's some other FPV company drone companies that are popping up here and there, but they're more interested in defense manufacturing. So all the money is allocated toward like I bet 95% of the grants are given to companies that are supplying for defense type stuff. They're not. I don't know that there's been news article of a single FPV hobby drone company that was given a grant of 10 million or 15 million or something like that. That would be amazing. That's really we need some stimulation for the FPV hobby for sure. To keep interest going. We need new releases. We need cool, innovative little drones coming out. We need battery technology. We need VTXs. There's not a single VTX that I know of right now in the United States or FPV camera that's the cheap $35 FPV camera that you guys can use. They make a Fat Shark camera, but that's produced outside the United States, non-adversarial parts. That is an NDAA camera. There are flight controllers that are made here. They are more expensive. People complained about that at first, but that was fucking stupid in my opinion, because it costs more to produce things here in the US, so expect that. And at the time, people were like, oh, well, why the fuck would I buy a Rotor Riot flight controller and ESCs for $160 when I could just buy a Chinese one for 90 bucks? Try it now. And you got to give it to Rotor Riot for making something domestic. I mean, not everything on that ESC is 100% made in the USA. I think there are parts from that particular set of ESCs that have parts, say, from somewhere in the Philippines or Vietnam or somewhere. I don't know exactly, but I know not 100%. It's extremely hard to make any electronics that are 100% made in the USA. Me, I would love to be able to do that. I think that's awesome. That would be amazing. But we would need millions and millions of dollars and many machines to be able to do that, and a giant staff of people to install those machines, set those machines up, train people to use them. But you would be able to produce, if you had a factory at scale, say you had a factory for FPV hobby drones, I think about $5 to $6 million would probably cover being able to start producing with the PCB machines. But then again, you would also need, you need to hire a staff of probably about 11 to 12 people to start. 11 to 12 people could run the factory on the baseline level, and then you would need to have probably, an upwards of 25 people once you got going. And that's not a huge company, 25 people. Sorry about the ads, guys. So somebody said when AI and 3D printing are merging and the coming parts are going to be mind-blowing. Yes, AI and 3D printing are already merged. They're merging for sure. People are using AI to create STLs, and AI is also merging with FPV drones. Autonomous drones are already here. Autonomous drone swarms, autonomous singular drones. That's all here. There's a company in Germany that just did a press release, I believe today, about autonomous AI drones and swarm technology for defense. Someone said it'd be cool if Palmer Luckey made a consumer level drone. It's not gonna fucking happen. That we could afford and practice with. Now, Palmer Luckey, and he would never do this, but if Palmer Luckey reached out to me and said, hey man, let's do some hobby drones, that would be the best. most amazing thing in the world. Or Elon Musk. Elon Musk, if you're listening, I will do that. I will help sustain the American FPV hobby. Now, Palmer Luckey did a TED Talk recently, and I don't know if you guys, some of you guys might not know who Palmer Luckey is, but he is kind of he's the wonder boy of autonomous drone defense manufacturing currently. And his company is named Anduril. I saw some very left-wing guy, and I'm not going to get into politics too much. Sometimes I do, but this is my channel, right? I do it anyway if I want. That's kind of drone camps for many years. But he was doing a long, drawn-out drone defense type of video, and he was kind of bashing Palmer in a bunch of different ways. It's just like but in getting back to Palmer Luckey's recent TED Talk, if you look on YouTube, you can find this TED Talk, and man, he must have been on some super caffeine when he did that speech, because I've done public speaking before, but man, he was on a fucking roll in this. You guys have to see this. So Anduril is also, very big in AI, autonomous drone swarms. It's a very public company, and everything is very public, and it's kind of interesting to see some of the stuff they come up with. It's amazing and terrifying, and just like next level. Like a lot of people in the public don't even know exists. Like your neighbor probably doesn't have any idea who Anduril is. So recently he made a comment. I need to go back and see exactly what that sentence was, but he referred to remote pilot FPV drones for defense and how they weren't going to be sustainable in a large scale war. But I don't think I agree with that. Because look at Ukraine. Look at FPV drones being used in different proxy wars around the world, in smaller form. They are the tip of the spear, because I mean, the fact is that if you have a drone swarm of 100 or 1,000 drones, going in to protect you, if you're on the ground, you're in the front lines, those drones go out. They're doing their job. They're seeking for targets. But then again, you're a soldier sitting there with your rifle. You may need something for backup. Wouldn't that make sense? So the remote pilot option still makes sense to me. So I don't know if I agree with the remote pilot FPV drone is not going to be effective in a large scale situation. I think it would be, as much as a rifle would be. I mean, that's just kind of looking at Ukraine. What we see in Ukraine, it's just obvious that it would be something that would help keep a few more guys safe. But he's looking at that. Palmer Luckey is looking at that from his perspective. I mean, this guy's building stuff that's like mind-blowing, right? So if you're looking at it from that perspective, and then you're looking down at like a little $125 5-inch toy drone, I could see him saying that, right? Because that looks like a pile of shit compared to what he's making, right? But that pile of shit can take out a tank, right? He is like the young Tony Stark with a mullet and a tropical Hawaiian shirt and flip-flops. He gave his speech. People in the crowd, and I don't think anybody was thinking about his outfit too much because of the words he was saying in that TED Talk. It's a pretty good TED Talk. After this stream, you should definitely go check that out. And Palmer Luckey is the creator of Oculus, for people that don't know that. So he started off made Oculus like in his camper van or something. And he's still pretty young as well. But I've watched the rise of Anduril over the past 2-3 years, and they're not a public company yet. But if they ever did go public, you should get in on that one. Like Tesla, when Tesla was first coming up. But if you're in Tesla right now, I recommend holding. Don't, because you haven't lost until you sell, right? You haven't lost until you sell. But like they say, FPV drones are kind of tip of the spear type of things in the battlefield. Yeah, and Palmer Luckey, he's basically said, I will probably never go public. You Can Fix It says I don't think he'll ever go public. He probably won't. He doesn't need to. He has enough money from grants and contracts that he's set pretty much forever for our country, unless someone. I mean, and eventually maybe there will be. Who knows? Maybe it'll be an AI CEO. Maybe the days of the AI agent CEOs is coming up. Chew on that for a second. So there's a lot changing, a lot of regulations, new regulations, and just a total bad vibes right now for the FPV hobby. Like, it's one of the things I love the most. I love the hobby. I think it's one of the things that I can go out and do, by myself and just be in the moment. And it gives me a feeling of peace and freedom. And I don't think about all of this shit when I go out and fly. We used to do a lot of FPV trips, get all the guys together, pile in the van, and just go camp somewhere and just fly off a hill somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Get away from people. Get in your car and just get the hell out of town and drive for 100 miles if you have to. Go to BLE land, and just go enjoy being by yourself. Get some of that solace. Solace is good for you every once in a while. Just get out of the noise. You go by Dwayne if that's easier. Yeah, Dwayne. Dwayne. Every time I see your screen name, I want to call you Dr. VB or V8. Stealth Flight FPV says, not sure they could stop you from flying indoors. I mean, they could. They could. Absolutely could. I mean, would they? No. But if the government decided they wanted to stop you from flying anything, they could probably do that. That technology exists. It's just a frequency disruption. But they won't. They're not concerned with that. Yeah, tiny whoops and things like that. Sub 250, flying indoors. We're definitely not gonna. I don't think we're getting to the point where, oh shit, we have to fly everything we have inside. We have to go find a cave somewhere. We have to go FPV. The FPV underground is coming. I don't think we're headed in that type of Mad Max scenario. Because if we have to go fly underground somewhere, God, society is much worse off than worrying about flying FPV drones as a hobby. Creo asks, what are the new regulations? Well, Creo, we talked about that in the beginning of the stream, and it's a whole bunch of different stuff. I may talk a little bit more about some of that. Stealth flight FPV. The FCC is also considering some other type of legislation as well. So if you go to dronecamps.com, you will, right now, you'll see the FPV Freedom team. I put this up a couple weeks ago. We only have like $85 currently given to this. And what I wanted to do is crowdfund a US-made FPV drone. I am talking to several different manufacturers stateside to be able to get the parts and components wholesale order together to be able to produce these and support the hobby. You can check out our GoFundMe link right there on the website. Click that. Freaking donate $20, $5, I don't care. But our goal was to raise about $10,000 to create these drones. You also have the option to go to our Drone Camp store. The Drone Camp store has brand new merch in there. It's pretty cool. We have a little side hit, Oregon Green trucker hat right here, $22. That will support the channel. The DC Army shirts are out. In the back of that, we have the Good Old Boys and Drones logo on the back, DC logo on the front, side hit. We have the OG black trucker hats. We have the two-tone gray and black ones. The standard family FPV shirt, that's the black. And one of my favorite hats, the Good Old Boys and Drones trucker hat. The camo hats are pretty hot right now. And then we also did a logo camo hat at the bottom here. $22.50 for that. We have a dad hat, and then we have like kind of a more dressy style hat. And then below that, if you scroll down, you'll see like all of our current drone offerings. If you hover over it, it will tell you if it's in stock or not. So like currently Mobile 6 is out of stock. iFlight, this is a Mach R5 Sport 5-inch drone on 6S 1300. This thing flies like over 100 miles an hour. It's super fast. That one retails for $345, but currently you can't order anything iFlight except from any domestic, except from us or domestically. And then we have the Orca. I'm surprised no one got this one yet because this one retails for $485. This is an expensive analog drone, but this one's also made over in Europe somewhere, East Bloc. I believe Orca is, what country is Orca? You guys. And then I have some RC helicopters if you guys fly military scale or you like RC helis. I love them. And that one's from, from Banga, $335 right now, and right now it's $150 ready to fly, shipped. So everything on here too is free shipping with the exception of our hats and shirts. And right now, Printful is handling our merch so that it can drop ship to you, and that I don't have to have boxes and boxes of this stuff laying around my house because Mrs. Camps might kick me out. It's just a lot for me to store merch. But this also allows me to kind of research different cool things to come up with for new merch and some more current patterns and designs, like this hat right here. It's a nice current camo look. I see a lot of the same type of pattern in like Cabela's and places like that. But I like the new merch a lot, and I actually ordered myself to wear one of the OG trucker hats and the Good Old Boys and Drones camo hat, which I think is hella freaking cool. I'm gonna be wearing that all summer. But those are reasonably priced too. I'm not making a lot of profit off those. I think I make like $4 if you buy a hat. Semperfly. There you go. I thought of something really cool yesterday, and today I woke up and I forgot what the hell I thought about for a design. It'll come back to me. But something like Semperfly. But yeah, the crowdfunding thing is still going. If you guys don't do it, I I may end up having to fund it myself. Like, this is how dedicated I am to trying to make this happen for you guys. Like, I may end up having to fund this myself. Shit. And like, I've talked about it like this before, like one drone at a time. If I have to be the last man standing supporting the FPV hobby, and I know I won't be, because there are other influencers out there who have YouTube channels who will hopefully keep making videos and supporting the community. But I will continue to make FPV drone tutorials, build videos based on what I have available to support you guys, right? Like, that's my promise going forward in the next 100 days. If we have this great reboot, I'm just going to keep trucking. I'm going to keep trucking the best way I can to support the community. And that is my promise. So you guys have any questions or anything about what my insights might be for any of this? If you have anything that crossed your mind during the stream, be sure to put that in the chat. I like that Semperfly. It's pretty cool. Oh, it's crazy times. It's crazy times. Hold on to those drones, guys. Hold on to your parts. Don't throw away any hardware. I've said this like 10 years ago on my channel. Never throw away any packs of bolts. Save every pack of bolts that you can. I swear to God, you'll come back to it later and you'll need a little 2 mil 6mm bolt or something like that for your, your camera. You need a 2 mil 4mm. Don't ever throw away hardware. And there was a time where innovation was happening so fast that it was impossible to start an FPV drone store. I don't know if some of you guys remember that. You probably do. Johnny D, I'm sure you remember this. 7 years ago, there were so many new releases happening so quickly that 2 weeks later, what you had currently in stock was not wanted by the community. So that's why a lot of people domestically didn't start up an FPV drone store. You couldn't keep up with the innovation. And now we've like plateaued. And we've plateaued in a way. I have other systems that I'm currently testing, and HD is the new hotness right now. There are other companies coming up with, I don't know if they reverse engineering DJI's 04 or trying to make something similar. But there are other HD systems coming out. So we're, and then there's OpenIPC. That's also innovative and open source, I think, to a point. Stealthflight FPV says, does Horizon Hobby make their products here or overseas? So let me tell you guys about Horizon Hobby. First off, I was a Horizon Hobby dealer. I had a U.S. hobby shop on the East Coast in 2014 through 2016, supporting the FPV community in the early days and RC community. And Horizon Hobby, during my time of having a rep with them, they were talking about some of the planes and things that they were having built, and then kind of being on the inside of things, I also learned that they do have things built and tested in China at a plant. They fly them right there outside the plant and test them for you guys. So Horizon Hobby does iFlight. A lot of those companies, it's all made in China. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen to Horizon Hobby. Got to block those nasty pop-ups. I don't want any notifications. So yeah, all the major brands. I mean, we're talking RC cars, RC car parts, hardware. EDF gliders, planes, boats, everything in the RC hobby. I mean, we're called Drone Camps RC, and I started out as an RC company. JPX 2000, you just hopped on. Could you please recap? I will do some recap. We're going to continue to talk about the theme of this live stream, the Great Reboot. I was talking about some of the things that I will try to do to help the FPV community in the next 100 days as we kind of slide down this trajectory of a shithole. But the hobby is crashing, even though some people don't want to admit it. And they would probably say bullshit, but yeah. That's because they're tied up in industry and they have product. And I could filibuster about that for a while, but I won't get into that. Some of you guys know about that. And I'm not like, I'm not here making this stream like, oh, the sky is falling because of this, and this. This is just a general observation of the information that's available. Like, go on Amazon, do your own research. If you look at all of the news together, you will see that I'm right. Oh, that's cool. You started in 2001? Yeah, Horizon used to make the little micro quads. Trying to remember one of the first inverted motor designs that I saw was a little line of sight quadcopter. God, what was the name of that? It was about $100, and people used to come in my store and see that and be like, well, I could just get one off Amazon for $30. Yeah, well, that's not going to be the same quality as this particular one. It's going to fly like shit. But the thing is, people don't care because their kid's going to play with it for 10, 20 minutes, and then it'll set in the toy room or their bedroom, and they won't fly it again, or they'll lose it in the yard. And so they didn't want to spend $100 on a little quadcopter. We used to call them copters back in the day, too, because that's what they are, quadcopters. I've had so many people tell me, JD, Justin, it's not a copter. Actually, it is. It's a quadcopter. It's a quad, you moron. Welcome to the hobby. But that was kind of the problem back then, and Amazon really ate us for lunch back in those days. Man, I wish I could remember the name of that drone. Horizon Hobby also made some of the first ever tiny whoops. Recently, I think Jesse Perkins was upset about people saying tiny whoops, so I have to say whoop. From now on, I have to say whoop. I think Bardwell got in trouble for saying tiny whoop or something. I don't know. That was just something someone said last week. Told me to watch out saying tiny whoop. Jeez. But I know that Jesse's a nice guy. Oh, you started in RC helis. I started with airplanes, and then I was an airplane guy, I was a heli guy, and then I was a drone guy. It was funny. When I first started up my store in North Carolina, it was kind of weird and scary because I went in one day and my branding was like, you know, this black hat right here. This was my branding, and I've always kind of dressed the same anyway, black shirts a lot of times, or black jeans. Somebody asked me one time, I was wearing like a black hoodie. They're like, Justin, are you in Antifa? I'm like, no, absolutely fucking not. But I've always had a lot of black clothes. I mean, a lot of people do. But I walked in to get a sandwich in the local deli, and this guy was like, man, did you see that government drone guy walking here? He's driving a black SUV. The government must be down here doing some drone surveying or something. This is back in 2014, so people really didn't have any idea about what this was all about. This is at the very beginning of the public trend of drones. But the guy behind the counter was like, that was Justin. He has a store down the street. It's a hobby shop. He's not with the government. Yeah, man, I had RC cars, airplanes, gliders, all kinds of stuff in that store. I have to post a picture of that store, myself standing in front of that. That was one of my proudest moments in like my RC career. Having my own RC store. That was cool. A picture just came up, and actually 11 years ago this month, I got my first shipment in the storage room from Horizon Hobby, and I had all these boxes, and I took a picture of it with my phone. I was so excited. I think I posted it on Facebook. Man, I was so excited to set those boxes out on the shelf. And it was weird because we were out on the Outer Banks, and in that area, if you've ever been out to the Outer Banks, you know that it's very touristy. We get all kinds of guys coming in. We actually had like a seafood uh, market next to us, and they would make like soft shell crab sandwiches. I mean, if you never had that before, you should have one. But people would go in there and they would make like a lunch order, and then they were bored waiting for the order. So they would walk next door to the drone store, and then they would come in, and guys would be like, hey man, I'm waiting on my sandwich. Why don't you tell me about them drone things? I'm like trying to like box up an order and ship something out, and I'm turning around. I'm like, oh brother, I'm busy right now. That's so fucking annoying. Tell me about those drone things. How about you walk around my shop and find something to buy, and then I'll help you and tell you about those drone things. Don't walk into a retail store, tell somebody you're waiting for an order. You just want them to tell you a bunch of shit. Because I know damn well this dude wasn't going to go home and become a drone pilot. I guarantee. When you live and you grow up in North Carolina on the coast, you just kind of, you can see people. You can see them. You know what I mean? You can see. You can tell the difference between a techie surfer, kiteboarder guy who has a diploma and a fisherman who may or may not be a doctor. But 90% of the time, the beach fishing crowd, not necessarily doctors and lawyers. It's a very kind of stereotypically a blue collar crew. For the rare exception of somebody who owns a charter boat who may be beach fishing with a couple people. But if you own a charter boat, you're a high roller. What's up, Cammy Drone? Welcome to the chat. Crabs eat people. They can. So, all right, let's do a short recap. When I first started this stream, we were talking about the great reboot, the next 100 days of the FPV hobby, and how the U.S. American FPV hobby will crash. This is not a test, unfortunately. There are tariffs, state bills, prices are doubled domestically. All the major retailers have doubled their prices or more. Orders have been halted from iFlight. iFlight recently halted all orders to the U.S. iFlight's website was also mysteriously down this morning for about an hour, and then it came back up, and I did see the news item that they released. We've also been talking about the China hobby supply line and the current ongoing wars, and a lot of the hobby drones have been used in these wars, proxy wars. Unfortunately, become a big part of those type of operations, and has such affected our supply chain of hobby goods. So that sucks, but that's what's happening today. Also, We talked about Horizon Hobby, how a lot of their stuff is made in China. We also talked about different states that are considering Chinese drone bans: Connecticut, Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi. We also talked about, I didn't show you that. We talked about Texas. There is HB 41 right now that is passing, that's going to effectively ban Chinese electronics coming up. I believe it was in the fall. That would affect government entities using Chinese-made drones and electronics that could possibly be used for espionage or any type of video surveillance, telecommunications type of things. Very unfortunate for people that are first responders in Texas, but what we're probably going to see is there's going to be some huge blowback from first responders about this bill, and it's very opposed right now. So we'll see what happens with that. We also talked about Missouri first responders bills is aiming to ban Chinese-made drones. We also watched this video about I don't know why it's doing that. Florida property owners are able to effectively use appropriate force to bring down what they feel may be a threat to their property or person. And they don't speak about how they can bring that drone down. And I joked about this last week. I said maybe somebody's going to, take a soda can and put it in a t-shirt, lob it up at the drone above their house, and just take it out. That's really all it would take. You don't have to use a firearm. Just a couple good tosses of a t-shirt and a Coca-Cola can. You just have to disrupt those propellers, and that thing's coming down. The problem with that is it is against federal regulation, so we don't support taking down any drones in any type of ways, unless you feel like it's, about to take your life. I would not do that to a drone. It is deemed as an aircraft by the FAA, and discharging a firearm, blah, 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 inside city limits, also not allowed. And definitely not recommended. We didn't really get into too much about this article that I kind of skipped over. This was an article on Drone Life. This was from April 25th. It was talking about how industry concerns over U.S. and China trade war, it's threatening the domestic drone supply chain. Abso-fucking-lutely. And it's not just affecting FPV and drones, it's affecting everything. We talked about how Walmart recently stated that they only have about 10 days worth of supply left for their retail stores. 10 days. That's not much time for, buying food. And they were stockpiling before the tariffs went into effect. So we talked about also having an FPV drone that's domestically produced so that you guys could continue to buy something that's brand new, not relying on old stock, old stuff sitting around. Amazon is currently kind of drying up. We talked about how supply chain on Amazon is down. We talked about Lions, how you can't currently find a long-range FPV drone battery on Amazon. They're not available. They're out of stock. Goggles 3 are also out of stock. I know Johnny D was messaging me this week about a link that he found for a pair of Goggles 3. I had suspect that that link was nefarious and probably a scam. So watch out for Facebook ads. Don't click on anything on Facebook telling you that it's a pair of Goggles 3 from some kind of art store or something, or so watch out for the scams. There are going to be scams out there for DJI specifically products as all of this gets worse. This was the article from iFlight. If you're just joining us, maybe you can see some of this recap. We're just going to talk about this briefly. But iFlight has suspended all orders to shipments to the U.S. And I talked about this today. This is a major FPV hobby supplier one of the largest ones in the world that supply FPV hobby drones to our community. A lot of people out there have Zing motors. Even if you're doing your scratch builds, some people buy the Blitz flight controllers, some people buy the frames. I recently saw a 7-inch last week on Amazon from iFlight. The Chimera frame is up to about $150 just for the kit without electronics. Very expensive 7-inch frame. We talked about all the US retailers doubling or more than doubling their prices. And we talked about all of this culmination of things happening all around at once, leading up to the great reboot, what I'm calling the great reboot for our hobby. So, and the US is going to reboot on a lot of different levels too. The problem is that we can't create manufacturing overnight, right? We can't just start manufacturing all the stuff that we need, doorbell cameras and cell phones and all this other stuff overnight. So President Trump did say last week that he was going to drastically roll back the 145% tariff. I don't know if iFlight saw that news, but it is public news that President Trump did say that. And so hopefully something comes out today, tomorrow, maybe the next day from President Trump where he's going to help restore trade. Because right now, we got a whole bunch of problems stateside for everything. All of these stores that sell anything. I mean, if you walk into any retail store and you pick something up off the shelf, look at the box. What does it say on that box? Made in China. It's not just about FPV drones or batteries or goggles. It's everything. It's food. It's medicine. And I wonder what percentage of goods in the United States are American. David Martin Graff says he picked up a DJI light air unit. They're selling out quickly. He picked up 3. Please, no doubt, be very hard to get in the coming months. Absolutely, my friend David. And 04 Pros. The 04 Pros are going to be sold out first. I have a feeling they're going to be gone. Matt Ice said he's going to stock up on the 04 Pro air units. Yep, you put that in the chat just in time as I said it. Those are going to be gone. Those will definitely be gone. In other drone news, we just had a news item come in 2 hours ago that DJI has pulled the plug on the Phantom 4 Pro. I still have my Obsidian. That sucks. And the advanced support. And I had recently updated this drone a while back, and I flew it with Diego. And that drone, I think that drone's probably about 6-7 years old now. And it still flies like I just bought it yesterday. I've only flown mine a handful of times because I did get it for a review unit. It's an awesome ass drone. It still shoots amazing 4K video. But yep, that's an end of an era for 2 legacy drones. Abso-freaking-lutely. You know, this is a really depressing live stream today because I wish I could talk about good things that are happening. Right? Now, I will talk about one good thing. Okay, here's a good thing. I do have a tutorial coming up for a complete setup of this 5-inch. So I'm going to do a setup video on the Mark V Dead Cat. And I will also do a setup on the Vapor. Depending on which one you got, you can apply our settings to it. I do have my own custom tunes that I release to the community, which people love. Also, real estate tunes for indoor Cinewhoops, things like that. I have a specific link, and I post these for free. If I do a tune, I give it away for free in Google Documents as a CLI dump, and you can copy and paste it into your drone and make it fly better. I also have legacy CLI dumps for older drones. I might not have time to get them for you. You know, a lot of people email me, "Oh, I need so and so such a drone," and sometimes I don't have time to hook it up and copy, dump, paste, email, and do all that. And like my time is pretty limited during my day. Mainly because I'm running a business, several businesses, and taking care of 4 children here. So, but yeah, that's why I say it's an FPV family business. Like you're supporting a family when you support drone camps. And my passion for our hobby for 11 years. Go me. You can message me, Dwayne, on my website, dronecamps.com. So if you want to send me a message, you can go on the website, and there is a little email us button at the very top of the site. You can email us there. You click on that, it'll take you to the email page. If you need service, we also offer service, which is freaking cool, because what other entity in the US right now offers drone FPV specific drone repair? Nobody that I know of that has a site as big as ours. If you scroll down at the very bottom of the page, on the front page, it says view all service plans. And we do service HD and analog drones. We have different plans. One drone service is $200. You can pay through PayPal. You can use a credit card through PayPal. 2 drone service is $350. Long range is $300. Build service is $300. And there is a fact there if you have questions about other services that we provide. And then we have a email form at the very bottom. So shoot us an email if you have a drone laying around that needs repair. If we have the parts to fix it, I'll use the parts that we have here in our shop. If not, you may have to provide the parts and send them to us with your drone. And typically, if you have something that needs repaired, you don't need to send us your goggles. You can leave your goggles at home and fly other things. But we may need your radio for radio setup, switches, things like that, and binding of your receiver. And most times, if you're sending us a bind and fly, make sure you send us everything. You don't need to send a battery or the goggles. So don't send the battery or the goggles. But that's pretty cool. So we're trying to do, you know, a whole bunch of different things to support everybody. So Philip 3273 said, Flywoo sent me an email about having a way to get past the tariffs or reduce the cost for buyers. Have you been seeing that? I personally have not seen that. Dwayne says, Philip 3273, please divulge. Sure, share that email with the community if you can. Copy and paste it right in the chat right here. We'd love to read that and see that. I also heard, I don't know if this was I think this was a rumor that iFlight or GEP was going to cover, they were going to somehow cover some of the tariff cost or whatever for you guys. I don't see how that's even possible, because it doesn't get billed until it gets to the border to get to you. It's like the next step in the shipment. Philip, you can paste that in a little bit at a time. There was also some FPV drama last week about Cadex. I don't know if you guys caught that, but apparently Cadex wanted to have reviewers sign a contract that said that they would post positive only reviews. I mean, and then one of the influencers outed Cadex, and several other influencers jumped on the bandwagon to disclose also the same information. So I don't know. I wouldn't have signed that contract either. I definitely would not have signed that contract. For some reason, like Cadex has been quiet with us for the past year or so. Like they haven't sent us their new releases. Not sure why. But I know you guys want to see that stuff. Dennis asking, when are you going to list the drones on your site for sale? So that is one of the projects that I have to do, but since I'm a one-man band, you know, it's kind of a tough thing to do. I did show on Friday, I think it was Friday, we did a stream and I showed that bin of drones. So I will get on that ASAP. So give me some time on that. I'll try to do that as quickly as possible. I need like a person here that could just do that for me, update the website, and then that would get you guys like all the stuff you need. But that is my pledge to you guys. My pledge is to be able to get you guys what you need shipped domestically from what I have to offer. I'm like down to my last, if I was down to my last drone, I would ship it off to someone who was interested in the hobby. But you may have a hard time getting the Mach 5 from me. It's funny. Sometimes I'll do a brand new fresh review and somebody will email me the same day. Hey man, can I buy that from you? Not right now. Message me in 3 weeks after I'm done playing with it. Because I want to play with it first. I want to play with it too. You know what I mean? And this is how a lot of them look. Like once they hit the website, they'll look as good as this, because I really try not to purposely tear an arm off one when I'm doing a review. Honestly, I'm really not trying to tear up a $600 drone. It's not good for me. It's not good for you. But I will fly it hard. I'll fly it hard. But I won't try tricks and shit that I can't do. That's not a good idea. I have tons of beater drones for that to advance my skills. But not the brand new 04 Pro. No. All right, so Philip 3273 is posting in some of that email from Flywoo to him. And it says, what you need to know. Small shipping fee introduced, which pretty much everybody's doing, except for drone camps. I'd still do free shipping. I'm proud of that fact for now. Shipping's gone up a lot. Like, now what I get charged for ground is more than what 2-day used to be. So we're even getting charged on Amazon for shipping now, like on a lot of things. A minor shipping charge now applies to all U.S. orders. The previous free shipping options no longer available. No surprise. Fees upon delivery. Flywoo absorbs part of the cost. We will continue to cover a portion of these fees to support our U.S. customers and keep our pricing as fair as possible. So, William at Flywoo, if you're listening to this right now, I think that's a really great thing. If this is true, I think that this is a great thing that you're doing for your customers. I have heard rumors of this happening from other companies like iFlight, but then iFlight just halted all U.S. orders. So I think that was a rumor. We appreciate your understanding and continued support. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to our customer service team. We're here to help. Thank you for being a valued member of the FlyWoo community, and we look forward to serving you under this updated policy. Blue skies and happy flying, the FlyWoo team. That's pretty cool, Philip3273. Dennis Smith says, can't wait to fly my Maz 7 V2. 25 hours in the simulator. That's a pretty good amount of hours. I would probably fly for at least... now, if you were smart, you would fly for a month. Give yourself 30 days on the simulator. Swear to God. Put the drone over on the table next to you. Look at it every day. Look at how beautiful and gorgeous and badass it is. Fly that simulator, look at that drone, and dream about flying that sexy ass piece of aircraft. And when you've done 30 days of FPV simulator, then go fly something smaller. Give yourself 2 to 3 days with something smaller if you've never flown any FPV at all, and then move up to the 7. And then when you fly the 7 for the first time, if you have the propellers wrong, it will eat up your face if it flies at you and hits you. So make sure you have your props on first. Make sure everything's set up right in your radio and beta flight. You're 100% certain that you have the props on correctly. Because if you don't, it will not pick any certain direction to fly once you power up and you go half stick on the throttle. It will fly wherever it wants, in any types of directions it wants. So Dennis, take warning. Make sure it's set up right. And what I always tell people to do when they first fly a brand new FPV drone, the number one rule of thumb when you're going to spool up a brand new drone, and I don't care if you're brand new to the hobby or you're someone like me, what you're supposed to do when you fire up a brand new setup, any of these drones back on the wall back there that I flew, you guarantee that I flew at line of sight first. Goggles up on top of your head, flip the arm switch, bring up the throttle slowly, come up off the ground a foot or two, hover in place, push forward, back, left, right with your stick, come back to center, land back on your landing pad. And that lets you know that everything is correct. If you don't line of sight flight test it first, you could fly and hit yourself in the face with the thing, because if there's a prop on wrong or anything, you can't see where it's going within line of sight with the goggles on your face. People have hit themselves before goggling up first with a brand new drone. So very important that you fly line of sight first, and that you give yourself ample space, a buffer zone between yourself and the quad. You know, you want to be close enough that you can see it to fly it, right? You don't want to be freaking 100 feet away, because there's no way you can see that freaking thing. And when you fly it, make sure that you're in stability mode, angle mode. Make sure it's in angle mode so it supports itself. Don't fly it in acro line of sight if you've never flown FPV before. And you'll have a good experience. You'll have a better experience. I don't suggest putting a lot of yaw into it and flying it and turning it around line of sight. I'm not saying that. Just, you know, all you want to do is bring it up off the ground, left, right, forward, back, using right stick only. Do not touch the yaw. Do not throw left thumb into it. If you do, you may end up screwing up and crashing. Even in stability mode, I've seen people do that. So just come up, forward, backwards, left, right. Check those orientations, and then land. It will 100% fly. And then when you fly an acro the first time, everything will be right too. How to fly a drone line of sight. That's a good tutorial. But yeah, it's going to get tough. It's going to get tougher in the next 100 days. And So I don't. No one knows where we're going from here, unless something changes in the next 30 days with tariffs and shipping and supply chains and all that stuff. If nothing changes there, then we are headed in a disastrous direction for the FPV hobby in the United States. Guaranteed. Because right now, everybody's like, oh, well, there's a million flight controllers out there. There's blah, blah, blah. There's all this shit sitting everywhere. There's piles of stuff. Well, when the piles of stuff all of a sudden become very sought after, piles of stuff disappears, right? So stuff can dry up faster than people realize when there becomes a demand for it. We saw this with toilet paper, people. Do you remember the toilet paper shortage? The great toilet paper shortage of 2020? We're about to experience what happened back in 2020 on a whole nother level if things don't get settled out within the next, like, 30 days. Tariffs of 145% are set to hit imports on, what is it, May 1st? We talking May 1st, you guys? I believe it was May 1st. It's kind of like the D-Day for the trade wars. D-Day, American Trade War D-Day, May 1st. Absolute. And you know, there's some YouTubers out there who are, you know, talking about food shortages and things like that. Like, I mean, forget FPV drone hobby. Like, if you can't go to Costco and buy food, or you can't go to the grocery store and buy food, there's the prepper people are freaking out on YouTube. Just go on YouTube and look at some of the prepper videos. They're crazy right now. They're talking about growing your own gardens and stocking up your garage with water. Water? If we need a garage full of water, we got huge problems. I don't see us having a water shortage. Hey, Philip3273, thank you for becoming a DC supporter. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate that. It's $2.99 to become a DC supporter. So if you like what I've talked about in the past hours plus stream, become a member of the channel for sure. And I, you know, I may have to resort to panhandling, like on the internet to keep drone camps going in the next 6 months. I don't even know yet. I might have to put up a freaking donation link to keep this shit going. Because in 11 years of time that I've been streaming, I've never been faced with like some situation like this. So the people that are here supporting the channel, I appreciate that. Go ahead and like this video if you've enjoyed it so far. I mean, the clarity that maybe some of you are kind of seeing the big picture of all this shit put together. And I'm sure a lot of you guys see this already. And some of you don't, because some of you guys are new. And that's okay. So we're here to help guide you in the right direction. And also help you not to buy the things that you shouldn't buy getting into the hobby. That's major. We do also have some cool reviews coming up this week. I've got some really cool new stuff sitting over there on the bench. I have, yeah, I'm not even going to talk about it yet. It's going to be a surprise. So you'll see some, there will be a gear review slated for tomorrow, as well as Wednesday, Thursday. 56 years in the hobby, and no one has seen this sniper before, says Johnny D. RC. You're right, Johnny D, and all of the RC airplane guys, the heli guys, heli direct companies like that. A lot of their RC helis are made in China. Like a $500 heli will now be probably $1,200. Like I think some of the 500 class series drone or helis are around the $400, $500, $600 price. So yeah, it's not just affecting the FPV hobby; it's affecting the entirety of supply chain. So yeah, we'll have to see where this is all headed. So let's get some community opinion. Put in the chat. Let's be very simple about this. You don't have to make it long-winded or anything. You don't have to type a whole bunch of shit, go crazy. Just put in the chat where, if you're watching the live stream right now currently 50 people in the live stream. Let's go ahead and put in the chat whether you think that as a hobby, we're on the rise or the decline. Just type in rise or decline by your name. Not rise or decline, decline or rise. One of the two. Where do you see it headed, like right now? What's your feeling? What's your gut feeling? Like, rely on your gut. They say rely on your gut feeling, right? So put down there in the chat where do you think it's headed? Dave S says rise. I like that. The first two people said rise. First three people, we got rise. Kurt West says rise. Okay, we got some positive guys in the room. I like to see that. You got the first four people saying rise. We got some more in there. You guys want to put whether you think it's on the rise or the decline. 100% rise. I like to see the positivity. So that's good. We should drop in a post on the community feed and do a poll and see what people say on the channel overall. Man, I love seeing that. I love seeing people saying that it's going to rise. Me, I am skeptical, as you can probably tell. I'm very skeptical. Mainly because 98% of our hobby relies on like Chinese manufactured hobby drones. So if someone was going to tell me like they were going to cut out 98% of my supply chain for, say, e-bikes or basketballs, or if I was a plumber, all of a sudden 98% of my supplies were going to be cut off. How do you make up that 98%? Right? Dwayne says, I think Chinese will blink first. I don't know about that. They haven't so far. But like someone said in the early part of this stream, that Chinese people are kind of having some uprise right now. There's some protesting happening in China over, I guess, the length of this trade war. I think people want this to kind of be resolved and ended pretty quick. But I love to see the positivity in guys. Like, that makes me feel better, because I woke up this morning thinking, holy Jesus. And then I started reading more news. The news like brings you down to, terrible mental health levels anyway. So, Stealth Flight FPV says decline. You are the first person. So you and me are sort of thinking that it's on the decline. And the reason that I think it's on the decline is because I see it from kind of a high viewpoint, just because I'm in contact with a lot of you guys. I talk to all types of worldwide companies, and I see different trends happening in our hobbies, going certain directions, going other directions. I have kind of a bird's eye view of everything that's happening, being in the position that I'm in. So I'm looking down and I see a lot of shit. A lot of shit happening. I'm not at the top of the hobby chain, but I'm up there high enough to know what's going on. And with manufacturers, outside the country, inside the country. Philip says we're not going to see many new people coming into the hobby because of the cost for a while unless something changes. So, I mean, Phil, ever since 2020, I said back in 2020 when supply chains started dropping originally, our supply chains went from like whoop during the height of the FPV drone warfare. Supply chains went whoop. They decreased by 70%. So back in 2020, 5 years ago, sales decreased for most of the major U.S. retailers by about 70%. So since then, they've decreased even more, and I think we had a good rise in the past year. We're sort of getting back to, we're heading back uphill, right? We're heading back uphill, but then again, there was this trade war thing that popped in since kind of coming up on January, since January, and now we're facing another 2020 type of situation. Compounded with a whole bunch of other things that we're dealing with as a community. So yeah, that's why I'm kind of like, really, I'm not seeing massive rise in manufacturing supports the hobby, right? So manufacturing supports the hobby. If you cut out 90% of the manufacturing and you're left with 10% domestic, or not even probably 10% domestic, you're going to see less availability and double, triple the prices. I mean, that's not going to stop a lot of people from flying. If you're really going to do this, you're really going to pay that extra money. You will, right? You will. But it's the people that want to do it cheap that we're not going to get. And that is going to drastically affect the hobby. 195% going to affect the hobby. The goal of my channel for the past 11 years, and you've seen this on drone camps, I've been a very general channel. I've tried not to glaze people's eyes over with the long, drawn out, very, very technical videos. I try to keep it a little more easy going, easy. I call it, people speak. I try to speak people speak, speech that people can understand. And that's been the goal of the channel, is get many people as possible into the hobby. Be as general as possible, but still like have fun, show awesome shit. Like, but still be like a core drone channel. We do other things. I review e-bikes and 3D printers and airplanes and just cool stuff too. Not specifically FPV all the time. But that's what keeps my sanity, right? And plus, it's fun to play around with a new electronic gadget or show off something to you guys that I think you would be interested in. Take care, Johnny D. But there's still a whole bunch of new stuff coming out as far as things I'm being told about that are coming, and whether we see any news from DC coming up, we'll have to wait and see. We're all in like loiter mode right now. So we're in loiter mode. We're waiting to land and continue doing what we're doing. We're dealing with supply side economists, and they'd rather jack up prices, not oversupply the market, and let the big money cover inventory levels. They prefer just in time inventory under supply. For sure. So we have to definitely reconfig, and if this continues, there will be a reboot. I promise you, there will be a total reboot. And what I mean by the great reboot is the fact that if we are forced to rely solely on non-adversarial and domestic companies for FPV products, like it's going to take years for the hobby to adjust to that and then start to regain the traction before a lot of this tariff stuff and Ukraine. So we've had some huge challenges in the past 5 years, like ginormous challenges, and also regulations on top of all that, because of the mistrust of Chinese electronics and surveillance equipment. So it's like there's a lot of challenges coming, and that's may lead to the great reboot in the next 100 days. But we're going to take it day by day. And you know what? Like, I'm surprised. You know what I'm surprised the most about during this live stream, though, for today? My takeaway for today is that you guys are positive about the FPV hobby on the rise. So I want to say thank you for making me feel a little better about it. But I will say that we're in a situation. We're already at a low, and if some of our supply chain gets knocked out, the hobby is in like big trouble. So, but I appreciate our community's positivity. Like that makes me feel good. So that's gonna be my takeaway for today, and I'm gonna go about the rest of my day with that positivity that you guys gave me, and I want to say thank you for that. Like that is huge for me today, because some days I think everything's going great, and then the next day, oh shit, you know what I mean? And that's just how life is. One day is great, the next day is terrible, like the world's ending. But I will try to take that positivity with me today and do something productive for you guys. So I will definitely get the website updated, refreshdronecamps.com, and you'll see some new drones in the Drone Camp store down here. Grab yourself a hat or a t-shirt down in the camp store. Or grab yourself a hat and a t-shirt. If you can swing it, that would make my day, because I don't think we sold a hat yet, and I would love to sell one of our new hats to you guys. Pick out one of the camo ones or an OG black hat. I really like the two-tone one, and I ordered the Good Old Boys and Drones hat over here on this side for myself, and I ordered an OG trucker hat. So they're pretty awesome. They're not super expensive. They're $21. And I'm definitely going to be rocking that one this summer. That one's awesome. And I need to order myself one of the new logo tees. But yeah, man, things will get better, and it will get better if we stick together. So that's a fact. So no matter what happens, like even if I'm the last guy standing, I'll still be standing here promoting this hobby. Absolutely 100%. So I'm not giving up. We say on this channel all the time, never give up, right? Never give up. That's our motto. I freaking love that motto. Gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. And then we're gonna ride it some more. That's what we do as Americans. So hang in there, you guys. And again, like, pick up a hat or a t-shirt from the store. I appreciate it. And support drone camps any way you can. But I'm gonna end it for now, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me today and talking about this really heavy subject. So enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Stay positive. Thank you for thinking so positive on the stream. That made me feel good. Thank you for that positivity. And for now, till tomorrow,